The title of the today, Saints like the Tabernacle's enclosure, packs, and the court. Until the temple was built in Jerusalem, the tabernacle served as the center of the Israel worship for about 486 years. Just as today the saints worship and serve God through the church, the Israelites offered sacrifice and served God through the tabernacle. Just as Jesus referred to himself as a temple, so we too are called to be holy temples. Therefore, by deeply reflecting on the tabernacle, we come to understand how we are to serve God and conduct our lives in the church today. Accordingly, today we will examine the tabernacle's enclosures, packs, and the courts and receive grace together. First, the appearance of the enclosure. Small number 1, the pillars and bases sockets used for the enclosure total 60. On the south side, the enclosure measured 100 cubits with the 20 pillars and 20 sockets of the bronze. The north side was the same. On the west side of the enclosure were the 50 cubits with the 10 pillars and 10 sockets of the bronze. And total 60s. The east side had the same total number of the pillars and socket as the west, but the arrangement differed because of the gate. On one side of the gate, there were 3 pillars and 3 sockets of the bronze, and on the other side, likewise, 3 pillars and 3 sockets. For the entrance itself, there were 4 pillars and 4 sockets. Please refer to the redemptive history book number 9. Number 2, they enclosed the enclosure with hangings of the fine twisted linen. Exodus 38 verse 16 says, all the hangings of the court all around the wall of the fine twisted linen. After the pillars were set up, the enclosure were curtained all around with the hangings of the fine twisted linen. When we remember the Garden of Eden, it wasn't fenced. It's just the same as so it is the same as the tabernacle. Number 3, to make the enclosure stand firm, they used silver bands, the overlaying for the tops of the pillar, cords, and pegs. Silver hooks were used to hang the hangings of the fine twisted linen. Silver bands were used to connect the pillars securely. The overlaying of the pillar tops together with the cords and pegs kept the enclosure from toppling even in strong wind. Exodus 38, 17 and 20 says. Number 2, the redemptive historical lessons of the enclosure of the tabernacle. Number 1, in the enclosure, the place of holy separation, there's a protection and safety. With the enclosure comprising the holy place, the holy of the holies, and the court, everything is holy, according to Exodus 26:33 and Leviticus 6 verse 16. Therefore, inside this holy boundary, there is a safety under God's protection, whereas outside this boundary, there's no safety. In Psalm 91 verse 10, no evils will befall you, nor will any plague come near to you. From these verses, those who dwell within God's tent, within His enclosure, live under His secure protection, are secured wherever they go. Please believe this word. Number 2, The enclosure sets apart God's own possession. Let's read one voice. Leviticus 20, verse 3 begin. I will also set my face against that man and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given some of his offering to Molech, so as to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name.
여러분들 여기서 보면 하나님의 소유 안에서 소유를 침범해서 소유를 어긴 일에 대해서 하나님은 분노하시며 그 일에 대해서
God is upset those who cross over his boundaries.
울타리하는 하나님의 소유라는
What lies within the enclosure belongs to God.
가르쳐서
This is why he calls it my sanctuary. My sanctuary.
울타리하는 내 구역이 나의 구역이 아니라 바로 하나님의
Inside the enclosure is not my domain, but God's domain.
정말 내가 화난 일, 찌든 일, 또 괴로운 일,
Even though what we experience with in the worldwide, we must stop in the sanctuary. When it comes into the church, we set aside our own business.
그곳으로 모세를 부르시고
God called Moses at the burning bush and said,
너의 선고
"Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground."
바로 하나님은 안과 밖과
God has drawn a boundary between inside and outside.
다른 것입니다. 울타리하는 하나님의 소유를
The enclosure is the holy place that the marks of his possessions.
성도님들도
Today, may we be a holy people who dwells within the enclosure of his sanctuary. I bless you in the name of the Lord.
세 번째
Thirdly,
울타리의
the fine linen hangings of the enclosure represent Jesus' atoning death and the righteousness of the saints.
마가복음 15장
Mark 15:46 says, Joseph bought a linen cloth, took him down, wrapped him in the linen cloth, and laid him in a tomb which had not been hewn out in the rock, and he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb.
바로 이것은 우리를 대속하기 위해서
Jesus died on the cross to redeem us, and his body was wrapped in a linen cloth and laid in the tomb.
그러므로 세마포는
Therefore,
예수님
the linen points to his atoning death.
그리고 나아가서
And those who believe in Jesus' atoning death are made righteous.
의인이 되는 것을 말씀해 주고 있습니다. 그러므로 세마포는
Thus,
성도들의
the linen also signifies the righteousness of the saints.
옷이 무슨 옷입니까? 바로
That's what we clothed it.
옷이 되는 것이죠. 예수님과 같이 똑같이 그런 모습으로 희생
Just as Jesus clothed himself as a linen with a devotion, so we do as the same.
하는 구별된 성도들의 입는 옷 세마포 바로 예수님의 대속의 죽음 성도들의 의를
The linen cloth is the signifies the righteousness of the saints. Fourth,
말뚝과 줄
the pegs and the cords, the silver hooks and bands, and the overlaying of the pillar tops reveal the church's true nature.
은 가름대와 기둥물이 싸게
The silver bands and the overlaying the pillar tops were both of the silver, and they were openly visible.
자 여러분들 그렇다면은 밖에서 볼 수 있는 것들은 뭐만 보입니까?
So
외부와 은과 눈만
the silver bands
있습니까?
and the overlaying of the pillar tops can be openly visible. The silver and bronze can be seen from the outside, but the gold is only seen inside.
멀리서 보면
The cords were also visible, yet because they are thin, they are hard to see from a distance.
바람에 넘어지지 않도록
The silver hooks that hang the hangings of the fine twist linens and the peg that holds the pillars so the entrance does not fall were scarcely seen.
교회는
So it is in the church.
기둥물이 싸게와 같이 보이는 곳에서
There are believers who labor in visible places like silver bands and overlaying of the pillar tops. There are believers also who seems slight but too important work like chords. And there are believers who, though unseen, make the church stand firm like the silver hooks and the pegs. A peg, once driven, does not come loose.
누가 빼지지 않으면 빠지지 않는 것이 말뚝입니다. 그리고 줄은
And a cord, though thin and seemingly weak, has the precious task of the linking the enclosure to the ground so that it does not shift.
말씀하고 있지 않습니까? 성경에서 줄은
In Scripture, the cord can signify the salvation's measuring and inheritance, and it points us to Jesus.
주님이 우리와 하나님을 바로 끈으로 연결해 주고
He joined us to God as a cord joined the tabernacle to the ground. He holds all things together.
말뚝과 줄은 보이지 않아도 그 일을 묵묵히 해나가는
Likewise, the church is built up through the varied gift and devotions of the saints.
모습과 은사와 헌신을 통해서 세워져 가는 것을 보여주고 있는 것입니다. 금과 같은 성도,
Some are like gold,
은과 같은
silver, or bronze,
은과 같은 성도, 말뚝과
and some are like pegs and cords.
중요한 것은 금은 귀하고
What matters is not our human ranking of the roles.
그 사상이 어디에 우리가 박혀 있는 거예요? 조선시대.
Such kind of the thought is from the old customs.
하나님이 바라보시는 것은 무엇이냐? 너에게 금을 맡겼으면 너는 금 같은 사명을 해야 되고
When God entrusts us with a task, whether gold, silver, bronze, peg, or cord, He delights when we carry it out faithfully. He delights when we carry it out faithfully. What matters is not our human ranking of the roles, but faithfulness.
각자 스스로 맡겨진 사명을 성실히 수행할 때
Let us carry out our task that God gives us. Please believe this.
아니 전부 다 공작새하고
If everyone wants to be a peacock or canary, who will be the ox?
밖에서 말뚝은 누가 되며
Who will serve as the peg or the course outside?
난 내 스스로 딱 금인데 교회에서 낯을
I feel like I need to serve as a gold, but the church asked me as a silver.
금인지 은인지 동인지
Some people says, I don't know, I'm a gold or silver.
끝날 때 여러분들 우리가 백보자 심판대 앞에서
If we having that type of the thought and to spend our time in the word, and then in the end, when we stand in front of the God, what would we be like?
그 각자가 하나님 앞에 빛납니다.
Be faithful to the task entrusted to you. Your service will shine before God.
2장 3절의 말씀
Therefore, with the mind that regards others as more important than yourselves, according to Philippians chapter 2, verse 3, may you humbly fulfill the roles given to you.
믿으시기를 바라겠습니다. 자, 결론으로
In conclusion,
음악의 내부가 아무리 화려하다 해도
no matter how splendid the interior of the tabernacles, it is complete only when the enclosure is erected.
출애굽기 40장 33절에 보면
Let us see Exodus 40, verse 33. We read the one voice. He erected the court all around the tabernacle and the altar and hung up the veil for the gateway of the court. Thus Moses finished the work.
모세가 사방의 울타리를 다 치고
When Moses put up the enclosure all around, the tabernacle was finally complete.
그러므로 오늘날 성도들은
Therefore,
하나님의
For the believers today to be built as a God's temple, we must keep a spiritual enclosure thoroughly set apart from the world.
우리에게는 신령한 울타리의 사명이 있다는 것을 절대로 잊으면 안 된다는 것이죠.
We never forget this role.
그리고 성전에는
And
울타리를 담당하는 분들
when those entrusted with the enclosure and those who serve like the pegs and cords faithfully fulfill their role, the tabernacle is brought to completion.
오늘 그리스도 소망교회 모든 성도님들은
May the saints of the Gerizim Hope Church keep body and spirit holy with the enclosure of the word and prayer.
스스로
May you yourselves become the enclosure, the pegs, and the cords of the church, keeping it to the end.
모든 성도들이 다 되시기를 간절히 주의 이름
I bless you in the name of the Lord.